I don't think anybody's sitting here and looking at this Buffalo Cincinnati game and is saying that Buffalo is meaning Cincinnati is an underdog. I think we look at this game and we very well know that Cincinnati is not the underdog. More or less, they are the favorites. I say that because this. Here's why I say that. I say it because this. Buffalo has looked awful. They scraped away games, and if you look at Buffalo, you say, what are they good at? Their strength is the receiving core. But you never want. No team has ever been so confident that your strength is your receiving core. If your strength is your receiving core, it's an issue. When you think about Cincinnati, what's their strength? They got a legit running back, Mixon, who's had time who's out, but they have Mixon at running back. They have three number one receivers. That's not what Buffalo has. You have a quarterback who's starting to mature, right? Who's starting to mature, understand the game, and then you have a defense who can play ball, right? You have a defense that plays sound defense. That's that's when you think of Cincinnati. That's what you think of. You think of their you think of their two D you think about the D linemen, right? You think about the receivers. You think about their their quarterback who's starting to mature and their running back. Cincinnati, like I told you before, them playing against Baltimore was the toughest defense they're going to play. Yeah, you got Oliver on the D line, and I'm not gonna lie, Davis White, he looked like he was out for a while out there last week. He looked like he was out there. He was out for a while, but White, I think that you do have a intelligent secondary, right? You have some guys who can play ball and fly around. It's can they bracket their receivers? And this is where this game right here is where we see if Joe Burrow is maturing. And what I mean by that is this. He has typically been a one hitter quitter, throw the ball up, quick quick drives. If Buffalo's smart, what they're going to do is slow the game down a little bit. That's the best bet on both sides of the ball. Slow the game down a little bit. And what happens to a lot of quarterbacks is when the game's too slow, different from the pace they like to play or like they're usually playing at. A lot of times they get a little anxious and they force the ball. That's the best bet, best scenario. Get ahead on Cincinnati early and then slow the game down. On offense, Buffalo, Josh Allen's going to have to run the ball quite a bit, and you want your short passing game to be your run. If you run the ball well, great. But I don't think that Buffalo's going to run the ball unless it's really cold, or run the ball well unless it's really cold outside. So for Buffalo, best case scenario for you, hey, let your short passing game be your run game, right? Quick screen to Stephon, quick screen to Gabe. Let Beasley do his work. Running backs at the backfield. Those are high value plays. Take advantage of those on defense. But I don't think that I think Cincinnati's defense is better than Buffalo's defense. But slow the game down. You know the Bengals want you to get in a shootout with them because they have the firepower to do it. When you have three number one receivers, Boyd, Chase, and Higgins. You know, well, people say, okay, yeah, but a good number two receiver in Boyd, but he was a 1,000-yard receiver before Higgins and whatchamacallit and Chase came. So you got three number one receivers or three top receivers in this league, and you don't want to get in a shootout with Cincinnati. So I despise either team, to be honest with you. I don't really care, which team, wins, because I don't really care for the game. But I care for the game of football, but not this game. Uh, if Buffalo wants to win, they're going to have to slow the game down. And on the Cincinnati side, this is where we see the maturity of Joe Burrow. Is he maturing as a quarterback if the game is slowed down and not getting anxious and forcing the ball? But I think you have a good running game you can utilize in the case, and if you set the game at your pace, establishing the run early, it's going to be a great game for whoever team that does that. But mainly for the Bengals.